What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dricus Du Plessis reveals the truth on Sean Strickland fight. When Dricus Du Plessis and Sean Strickland met inside the octagon in the main event of UFC 297, the MMA community almost unanimously gave Sean Strickland the first round on their scorecards. In the second round, however, the tides shifted in favor of the challenger as he pushed the pace and landed some big strikes. The way the newly minted champion explained things on the Anik and Florian podcast, after going back to his corner following the first round, he knew that he needed to change his approach in order to swing momentum his way.
After the first round, I went to the corner and I said, I think we have to, and obviously my coach would shout to me when the round's about to end to get that takedown. And we made sure we got that at the end of every round to either level the playing field or to make sure we tipped the round in our favor. So that was our plan. It wasn't to get him down and hold him down. It was to get the takedown, secure a position, get back up. And after the first round, I went into the corner and I said, I think we have to do a little bit more than that because we lost that round. And he said, you definitely did.
Although it paid off for the newly crowned champion, the judge's decision has continued to be a hot source of debate for the MMA community, with viewers largely split in regards to who they thought won this fight. As Dana White explained following the event, he scored the fight in favor of Strickland, while many others watching around him scored it for Du Plessis. Jon Anik is threatening to leave the UFC to go commentate for pro football after the hate he's received for saying that Dricus Du Plessis beat Sean Strickland last Saturday. According to Anik, he doesn't know how much time he has left in the MMA space because of the toxic fans. Here's what he had to say.
Because even if you and I both thought Dricus Du Plessis won the fight, we try to present that information respectfully. And when I go on to X or I go to our YouTube comments, it seems like a lot of these fans are just in attack mode. And I don't know if these fans are casual fans or not, right? But I appreciate the passion, but I'm getting to a point at 45 years of age where I don't know how much time I have left in this MMA space, because if I go do pro football, like I'm not necessarily going to be dealing with this lowest common denominator all the time. And I don't know, man, I just feel like there's a lot of malice and disrespect from the fan base, and we can disagree. Like, don't take it from me. Demetrius Johnson and Kenny Florian thought DDP won the fight. I don't know. I've just been very off put with the negativity that has permeated my feed since Saturday night, and I'm just not sure how much longer I have in this space, honestly.
This is what the MMA community had to say to Jon Anik about his retirement. Strickland fans are a joke, man. Worst fan base in MMA history. Jon Anik is the last person who should be getting any sort of heat from MMA fans. What the hell? Leaving your job because someone is mean to you on the internet? Come on, Anik. Why would he even respond to those people? It's no different over there. MMA fans are annoying. Sorry, dude. Please forgive us. Jon Anik, please don't leave. I'm begging you. Peace out then. We watch the sport for the sport, not to hear what Jon Anik has to say. Cry harder. Anik was wrong, and he can handle being called out for it. Go ahead and do us all a favor and retire while you still have some dignity and respect left. Next up, let's take a look at Max Holloway breaks silence on Justin Gaethje fight. Although Ilia Topuria explained in November that if he emerges victorious against Alexander Volkanovski in February, then he would welcome a fight with Max Holloway as his first title defense. The former 145-pound champ is currently gearing up for a BMF title fight with Justin Gaethje at UFC 300 this coming April. During a recent interview with ESPN's Brett Okamoto, Holloway opened up on the fight, explaining how the booking came about.
I mean, it just kind of came together because, you know, I had the fight with Allen, I did the fight with Korean, and then they went a different way with the 145 title shot. And then at the time, Charles was booked to fight Islam. I was just being like, hey, you know, Gaethje, if you don't want to wait around, we could do one. We could do one for the fans, you know, and, you know, Gaethje being the BMF that he is, you know, ended up taking the fight. We're on UFC 300, huge card, the hugest card that's going to be all year, I believe.
Should Holloway and Topuria both wind up winning their upcoming fights, it sounds as though a meeting between the two would be the next logical step, given that Holloway has essentially cleared out the 145-pound division of other top contenders. Next up, let's take a look at Dana White reveals huge news. This week, Dana White revealed big news indicating that the UFC had added Holly Holm to the upcoming UFC 300 card in April. As part of the announcement, White also revealed huge news indicating that he and the UFC signed PFL Women's Lightweight Champion and Olympic judoka Kayla Harrison.
Holly will be taking on the only person in U.S. history to win back-to-back Olympic gold medals in judo. The UFC has officially signed Kayla Harrison. Kayla's 16-1 with 12 finishes. Her takedowns, her ground and pound are nasty, and this will be the first time she will be competing at bantamweight.
While the news was quick to spread around the MMA community, many wondered why Harrison chose to part ways with the PFL given the big things happening with the promotion. During a recent interview with MMA Fighting, PFL CEO Peter Murray opened up on the news, reacting to Harrison's decision to drop to 135 pounds while also indicating that Harrison chose to leave a fight with Chris Cyborg on the table by joining the UFC. Listen, we wish Kayla well. She's a two-time champion with us, women's 155, and she's moving on to UFC. She's going to be on a historic card, which I believe is a testament to the level and quality of talent in the PFL. We wish her well. We're disappointed that fight between Cyborg and Kayla did not happen. Kayla chose not to make it happen and move on to her next chapter. We had the fight that matters, the fight that matters most. Candidly, the biggest fight in women's sports in MMA. Ultimately, Kayla made a decision to move on. From the sounds of things, Harrison might not be the only one on the PFL roster potentially moving over to the UFC. According to Chris Cyborg, she too wants to make the jump back to the UFC for a rematch with Amanda Nunes, writing, "Dana, I would love to add Cyborg Nunes 2 onto the UFC 300 card too." With the UFC 300 card rapidly approaching this coming April, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC fighter goes off on Khamzat Chimaev for interview. When Sean Strickland defeated Israel Adesanya, Khamzat Chimaev praised him for both his work ethic and his willingness to fight anyone. However, after Strickland's loss to Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 297, Chimaev took aim at his former training partner, alleging that he got the better of Strickland in training sessions. The situation didn't sit well with former UFC veteran Josh Thompson, who spoke on a recent episode of he and Big John McCarthy's Weighing In podcast.
He talks specifically about the fighters, like, oh, I used to beat Sean up in the training room. Yeah, but we're talking about practice. That's not what we do around here. Okay, like it really comes down to beating somebody up in the training room doesn't mean it has to do with the other. You can get it done out there. I have seen you are good out there in the cage. We've seen it, but we've also seen lapses of.
I've seen him struggle.
I've seen you struggle.
With Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya expected to collide next, the door is now open for a title eliminator between Strickland and Chimaev. Of course, as Boers recently alleged, it's Dana White and the UFC who are to blame for his inactivity recently. Despite that, the undefeated contender seems to be in good spirits, recently enjoying lunch with Islam Makhachev in Dubai. Currently, neither fighter has a bout booked. However, the expectation is that Makhachev will compete against either Justin Gaethje or the winner of the Oliveira vs. Sarukian fight this summer. While in the case of Chimaev, the next step for him is likely a title eliminator. Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. After Dana White's big announcement of the Holm vs. Harrison fight at UFC 300, let's take a look at some other fight bookings that may have flown under the radar. Starting with a rematch between Joanne Wood and Marina Moros added to UFC 299 on March 9th. The bout will see the two women look to run things back after Moros handed Wood the first loss of her career back in 2015. This time, Wood will be coming off a win back in March, while Moros will be looking to snap a two-fight skid. The following month, at UFC Vegas 90 on April 6th, Alatang Haley will take on Victor Hugo in a highly anticipated bantamweight bout that will see Alatang Haley look to bounce back from an October loss to Chris Gutierrez, while Hugo will be looking to build on an impressive winning streak that recently saw him pick up a knee bar win on Dana White's Contender Series back in October. Last but certainly not least in the way of fight updates, reports have indicated that Sodiq Yusuff and Diego Lopez will collide at UFC 300. With Yusuff looking to bounce back from a loss to Edson Barboza back in October, and Lopez looking to build on a two-fight win streak that most recently saw him defeat Pat Sabatini in November. Given how many fights have been booked and confirmed as of late, expect more in the week to come. Now, let's take a look at UFC should shut down women's bantamweight division? The co-main event of UFC 297 left a lot to be desired. Although the bout saw Raquel Pennington crowned as the new women's bantamweight champion, many fans on social media were critical of the performances of both Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva throughout the bout, stating that it wasn't up to the level of a championship caliber fight. During a recent episode of DC and RC, the NFL veteran took a harsh stance on the women's bantamweight division as a whole.
It seemed like two people who knew good and dang well it's no way they should be fighting for a championship. If that is what's going to be the highest level of the bantamweight division for the UFC, there should be a serious discussion of getting rid of it. If this is what it's going to be, DC, I'd rather you not put it on the card. That's just my opinion. It's not funny. I'm dead serious. I was sleepy and I had to watch that. Because I was trying to get to Sean Strickland, Dricus Du Plessis.
With the addition of Kayla Harrison and reports indicating that Amanda Nunes could potentially be returning to action, it's unclear whether or not Clark's stance has changed. Next, let's take a look at Daniel Cormier fires back at Jon Jones. Recently, text messages between Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta from back in 2014 were made public as part of the antitrust lawsuit against the UFC. The messages show both men bad-mouthing Jon Jones, with Dana White calling him a scumbag and Fertitta calling him a douche amid negotiations. Although the messages painted the two members of the UFC brass in a negative light in the eyes of many fans, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier took a different stance, explaining as a business owner, he understands how frustrating it is when an employee is causing problems. Shortly after, Jones fired back with a scathing response on social media, taking aim at DC with a series of posts. Now, Cormier has shot back at his longtime rival in a recent video for his YouTube channel.
You know what the craziest thing to me about this whole situation with Jones? It's like, if I could say 100 things about him positively, he hangs on to the negative thing. But I wasn't talking about him directly. I was talking about in business, and you have employees in your businesses. Sometimes things go sideways with the employees and you say bad things. When someone's being a bad employee, you say bad things. That was my argument, guys. Even if he won both fights, right? Even if you won, in that moment, it doesn't change what I was saying. I'm paid to do a job, guys. I'm paid to talk.
From the sounds of things, as Chael Sonnen indicated in a separate video for his YouTube channel, the rivalry between the two is still alive and well on some level, even if the two are no longer in a position to compete against one another. Andrew Tate exposes Sean Strickland for copying him. Andrew went to Twitter to call out Sean Strickland for a post Strickland made that was very similar to posts that Andrew has made. Here's the clip Sean posted.
We live in a matrix where, like, society actively tries to numb you. They actively try to say, hey, when you wake up at 4 a.m. and you have to go lay rebar in LAX and you don't make enough money, even though you work an 8-hour job with overtime, you don't make enough money to raise a family. So guess what? Now your wife also has to work a job. And you go, don't worry, the school system will raise your kids. And all while they do that, they beat you into the fucking dirt. And they say, hey, but you know what? You could try this new vodka, Jack Daniels. It's fucking great. Goes down smooth. And it's so difficult in life not to want to reach towards, even if it's a social media addiction, even if it's a sex addiction. It is so difficult in life for the average man to go work his ass off, come home, and still not have enough. And all you got to do is take a drag, take a hit, take a drink. And for that split moment, the worries go away. Yep. It's such a fucking struggle.
Andrew replied to this tweet saying, so he says, hates me on the podcast, but then copies everything I teach. I'm not mad. Glad there's more people who understand. We must free minds. Back in September of last year, Strickland went on his podcast to call Andrew Tate a piece of shit. But it seems that Strickland is more aligned with Tate than even he thought himself. One fan responded to Andrew Tate saying, that's all they do, hate and copy. While another fan replied saying, buddy, my dad had been saying the same stuff for 20 years. You didn't teach him anything. It's just the reality of the world. Whose side are you on? Sean Strickland or Andrew Tate? Let us know in the comments. Top comments. Give Chandler a fight at 300 and forget about McGregor. Brendan Schaub also said Izzy would kill either of these guys, even though Strickland just literally beat Izzy a few months ago. Interim belts just need to stop being handed out at this point. Imagine a world where fights are made by ranking. My God, this is a never-ending issue. I wonder why. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.